a Data East CheckPoint MPU. And let me boot it. I have Simpsons ROMs in it. And I use Simpsons ROMs because CheckPoint is, I got a 128x16 display. I have one, but it's a pain in the rear end to hook up. I have a Simpsons soundboard, and I have, of course, my multi-system display panel that I use with all system 9 through 11 and Data East games. So this board is booted up. The primary reason that the client sent this board is, he said something blew up in the, I guess, in the solenoid section. I did find one dead transistor. Actually, it looks like somebody tried to replace it before, but so I finished the job. I connected it up nicely. You see that somebody's replaced a 7408 here. I tested it and it's just fine. And I was seeing a little bit of a problem with solenoid 4A, this one, and I just flexed this, and I suspect, and the problem went away. I suspect there's a bad joint on the back of that, so when I take this board off the bench, I'll make sure of that. That's my dog Chase back here. He's whining because maybe it's so darn cold outside here in St. Louis. Let's go into test. See, you're not going to be able to hear these very well because I had my speakers behind this panel now. These you can hear.
Hey man, we're both underachievers.
So we'll at least be able to see that it's driving the sounds interface correctly. And it is. So let's advance past that. Check the display outputs. And that's working fine. Switch test. I'm going to go across the diagonal of the switches. And the Simpsons supports all 64, and there we go. No active switch. Lamps are doing their Data East thing that they do. Data East, at least Simpsons ROMs, allows you to check the rows and the columns. And it also allows you to check individual lamps. So I'm going to skip that. Go over to the flashers. And this was the circuit that was iffy, I guess I'll say. Seems to be working now. Of course, Data East used multiplexing for their solenoids. So the yellow LED lighting on the left is the AC select solenoid. And then the red LED is the generally the coil side, the C side. And the A side is the flasher side. Those are the special solenoids that are executing now. And this is the flipper ground enable relay. Checking the special solenoids. This special solenoid section of this board has had a little bit of work done. Not as much as some I've seen, but man, that section is problematic. Rebooting. And we're back up and running. Now this board pair, or this board came with a dual set of ROMs, B5 and C5. I've created a single ROM so that I can return the board in the same configuration I tested it. If I send this thing back with in a 2-ROM configuration, that will have been a change. And if the client gets it back and there's some issue, then we can't rule that out. Now, I want to rule that out because the last thing I want to hear from a client is that they have an issue, and I don't hear that very often. So I jumpered this, so use a single ROM, and what that boils down to is I moved J4 to the right to J5. 2 ROMs, 1 ROM jumper. That is universal on all Data East games. So that is it. NVRAM installed, 470 microfarad cap, this header, good to go. Thank you so much for sending it.